Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again. I hope you're doing great. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to set up custom cameras in the cockpit view in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And on top of that, I'm going to share how I organize mine around, so whatever airplane I fly, I always use the same setup for cameras. Okay, so first things first, we're going to rebind the default MSFS keybinds for custom cameras. We go into the control options and we're going to type in on the keyboard section, we type in custom camera, like that. You're going to have save custom camera and you're going to have load custom camera. So what I usually do is that I rebind all the custom cameras, save and load to any buttons of my liking. But I do it with Control Alt 9, so I make sure that I'm not doing anything that could have another keybind, so that was my personal preference. I do Control Alt 9, Control Alt 8, and so on to save that camera. And then I use my numpad as a layout for all these cameras. I do 9, 8, 7, 6, and so on, but always on the numpad. I recommend using the numpad. If you don't have one, you could always just use the normal numbers like I do for saving, but it's up to you. You do whatever feels more comfortable to you and whatever will be easiest to reach when you're flying around and grabbing the joystick and the throttle. Now, after having the keybinds set, we go inside the cockpit and basically we have just to move around with the camera and save those custom cameras. The way you move around in the cockpit is also pretty simple. You use your arrows, your keyboard arrows, your up arrows, down arrow to go down, up arrow to go up, left arrow to go left, and right arrow to go right. Oh, but what if I want to move forward and back? Easy, just hold the Alt key while doing the movement. So in this case, I'm doing Alt arrow down, Alt arrow up, and that's it. So this is the way I move around the cockpit and set up my custom camera. Now moving over to how I organize my cameras around. Obviously you don't need to do this, but this is just to tell you more or less how I organize mine and what is my thought process when doing this on my sim. So camera number one is always the forward-looking camera in the cockpit. This is the one that we're looking at right now. Number two is always the MCDU or any flight computer camera. In this case, it's the MCDU one. Number three is always the overhead camera. And I try to grab as much information as possible from this camera. In the 737, it's a bit hard because above the overhead, you still have like the dome lights and stuff. So it's a bit difficult. But in the Airbus, you can get all the information that you need right there. I use head tracking, so most of the time I don't really use this camera because I could be looking forward here and just tilting my head and reaching most of the light buttons and stuff that I need to. But when I'm doing the cockpit preparation, I always use this camera. It's just easier. Then we have number four. Number four is the one that I use for looking close up at the ND and the PFD, but at the same time I can easily scroll through the flight plan pages and look at the progression, because I can switch the knob here to flight plan, scroll through the actual flight plan and see it here on the ND. So there's like a 3-action camera. Number five is always the pedestal camera. So I can take a look at all the things that are right to my side and in the center of the cockpit. Then number six I just use whenever I'm flying in shared cockpit and I want to fly on the first officer side. So whenever I want to fly on the right, I use number 6. Then number 7, we go to the tablet. Pretty important camera setup for me, but yeah, the tablet. Then number 8 is just the leaning forward view. Basically to get that when I'm parking, when I'm taxiing, I can't really see where I'm going too well. Either I lean forward with the head tracking or just press number 8 and lean forward with the head tracking. I can see even more further down. And then number 9 is just the wing view for whenever I want to listen to PAs or rewatch the landing and stuff like that. So right now on screen you should be seeing a layout suggestion for your camera setup. Maybe that helps out. Basically that's the way I organize my cameras around for every aircraft. Obviously, if you're flying an airliner and if you're flying a general aviation aircraft, there are going to be things that you don't have in one that you have in the other. If I'm flying the Cessna 152, I have no need to use the MCDU camera or any flight computer camera because we don't have one. So I'll either replace it with something else that I feel it's important, or I'll just leave it empty. But I don't usually swap around cameras too much, so I know that every time that I press numpad 1, it's going to be my default forward-looking view, and that is all across all the aircraft that I fly. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this little tip video, like the video and subscribe, share with your friends, and until the next one, safe flights to everyone. See ya!